Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Calcio Bros Recap. I'm Christian. I have a special guest with me. It's Elaine from Milan Obsession. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for letting me on.
So it'll be just us two discussing what happened in week 12 of Serie. It's already going by so fast. So we'll pull up the results and we'll go each game at a time. So we have Saturday's games opening up with Bologna hosting Crotone. Crotone getting the crucial victory away from home, and honestly it was an interesting game. We saw two free kicks scored by Verdi, which he scored with both his right and his left foot, so you don't see that very often, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's been since the 2004-2005 season, I think I read. And yeah, of course, he's ex-Milan youth, so that was great. And they still lost. Like this amazing feat that he accomplished, and they still lost.
A great player, he's really becoming his own sort of player at Bologna, and I guess Donadoni's really using him well with like Di Francesco and Destro as well. So he's really turning out to a good standout player.
Yeah,
that's good to see. And again, unfortunately, we did let him go, so I guess we didn't want to wait for him to develop anyways. But maybe we'll buy him back in the future. Budimir scoring twice. He hasn't really been fulfilling Falcinelli's shoes, but he got the job done yesterday. So that was good for him. And Crotone, a big win for them. Hopefully they can stay up again this year. Then we'll go into the afternoon game, the Derby della Lanterna, Genoa-Sampdoria. Great game. Unfortunate result for Genoa, though.
Well, yeah. Well, and then very unfortunate for Juric, of course. But yeah, the Derby della Lanterna is always an amazing match. I always try to make it, and I think I got like about 60% of the game I was able to see. It was fiery as ever. I love those matches.
They're honestly, like, to me, they're a derby which never gets old. Like, you'll see some games, like the other derbies, they tend to get a little stale because of how like one team is one-sided. But these two are always, it's entertaining. Even if
it's always fiery, no matter what. And even in the rain, there was a chance that it wasn't going to be played because of the weather, and it was super cold, I guess, and whatever. It's still fiery, even in the cold and rain.
Goals were scored by Gaston Ramirez and Quagliarella. Quagliarella scored and Ramirez both scoring their first derby goals. Ramirez is really turning heads too, I guess. Like he had a good season at Bologna, then he went out to I believe it was Southampton. I believe it was. But he hasn't been the same since he left Italy. Now he's really starting to get back. Sampdoria, a really strong team. They're like honestly on a great revolution this year. Quagliarella and Zapata just leading the troops.
Yeah, well, and they're in sixth place. They're ahead of us. So you got to know that that's good.
Alright, so we'll go on to Sunday's games. The 6:30 was Inter Torino. Eder scoring before Iago Fall cancelling it out. Don't mind seeing Inter not getting a full 3 points, but they still remain undefeated. Unfortunately, I don't want to see them lose.
But they did that canceled out their home winning streak. That was the first game they didn't win at the San Siro this season. So thank you, Mihailovic. I would just like to say. And yeah, I think Falca actually scored first, and then Eder scored right after that.
I know Belotti still again has to pick it up after his injury, but it will take him.
He's just coming back.
Yeah, it'll take him some time before he can really get back to his scoring ways. We'll go into the 9 a.m. games. One of them was postponed, the Lazio-Udinese game. It was originally going to be suspended for half hour, then they were going to see how it was, but later it was postponed to another date.
Did you see that pitch? It was so waterlogged. I'm like, how could you even think of playing on it?
It was terrible. I know. But usually they try getting the water off the pitch, but I guess it's...
Yeah.
In all of Italy, it was just tremendous rain. Surprisingly, that game got cancelled, and like you said, the derby was almost cancelled, but we got to see that. So the rest of the results that actually did play, Juventus beat Benevento 2-1. Benevento, why? Why?
Hey, they went up first. Come on. Juve were wearing their, special commemorative jerseys for their 120th birthday, and they I think it was all the way to halftime, they were down 1-0. So.
Yes.
So thank you, Benevento, for at least entertaining us until, of course, they killed you. But it wasn't that convincing of a game. Juve didn't look as good as they usually do. Yeah. So at least that was entertaining.
And it could maybe see the end of the Juventus dominance. They have been struggling, which is, I guess, a good sign in a way. I guess many.
Well, whenever you hire Allegri as your coach, you're going down at some point.
It's just been taking Juve a little bit longer. Well, I guess we're starting to see the start.
Yeah.
Fiorentina losing at home in an entertaining game to Roma 4-2. Gerson scoring his first 2 goals with Roma, young talent. Let's see how well he can develop as well. Fiorentina's still struggling. Like I know they're not always like a top team, but they're not a bottom team. But a lot of times
they're Fiorentina. They're always. I mean, I feel for their fans because they're just like at least Roma, they're probably going to end up in second place. But Fiorentina, like they're just in the middle. Sometimes they'll get up towards the top and their fans get their hopes up. Other times a poor season. And I feel bad too because especially being a Milan fan and having gone through a takeover at the club and everything, like what's going on with them and clubs as well, Serie A, where question if they're going to be sold or not and all that. I feel for them, I really do, but it was a really entertaining game for sure.
Yeah, we'll see if Fiorentina can step up. Pioli's still trying to mold them into their own type of... And again, they did lose a lot of players as well, gain a lot of players, so in a way hopefully they can pick it up and be at least a decent team and not constantly lose. Or be a little, or at least try to be more consistent.
Well, I guess. I really think it's management because they didn't buy players. What did they do in the transfer market? Hardly anything, and so they're in the same spot that we were like 2 years ago, probably. If they can find some rich person to buy the club and spend a lot of money, then better off. Under this management, you're probably not going to see like a huge resurgence because they didn't invest. They don't care. They don't care about the fans, and it's really sad.
We'll go on to the next games. We have Chievo hosting Napoli, which ended in a scoreless draw.
Wow, right?
Yeah.
Like, that one totally blew me away. I was like, really? That was amazing.
I know, like, Saudi had just changed a couple players. Like, he actually started Mario Rui for once, considering he wasn't even on the bench when they played City when Gulam got injured, so that could help. He started. Madro later made an appearance. I just don't know why he doesn't retire by now. And then Reina wasn't even on the bench either. He was Sepe was in place for Reina with Rafael on the bench, so that was another interesting choice by Saudi. But I guess you can see Napoli's vulnerable because they didn't really spend too much on the transfer market, considering it's good keeping these same players, but at the same time you just want the one or two to add a little bit more depth to, say, the defense or the midfield, right?
I feel like their team is really actually one of the best constructed teams in the league, and I feel like they didn't need to spend in the market. To me, this was more just like, it's November and they've been playing 2 competitions and traveling and all that. You're always, very few teams can ever win like every single game. It rarely happens. Yeah. And so I don't know, but it just shocked me that Chievo were the ones that kept them to a draw. Like, even we beat them. So does this mean we're going to beat Napoli?
Let's
Wait,
hope.
No, never mind.
Let's hope. But again, you're right. Like, you can't win every game. They are one of the best teams right now in Italy, in Europe, I guess. Well, maybe not in Europe, but one of the more flashier types. They know how to really play good football. It's how consistent they can be, and if they can if they can't get the results they need.
But I mean, they're still top of the table, and it is just one game. But it just surprised me because this is like, when you have a team that slips up, you think they're going to slip up against the Juventus, against a bigger club, and to slip up against Chievo was like, oh, wow, okay. I feel like if we didn't have the international break, I actually would think that maybe they'd be vulnerable against us.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to have time to regroup. It's not going to be pretty for us.
Yeah, well, let's hope we can get a good result. The morning games was Cagliari-Verona. Cagliari edging out Verona 2-1. Verona still struggling as of late, so we could see them not prematurely, I guess, go down only after a year up in the top division. Cagliari is playing really well in their new stadium, and if you guys haven't seen it, it's a beautiful stadium. And
it's gorgeous.
I think the atmosphere there is really giving them confidence to play at home. We'll see how well they can keep it up, and we'll see if Verona can turn it around anytime soon. The midday game was Atalanta-Spa, finished in a 1-1 draw, Atalanta taking the lead, then Spa equalizing. So Spa picked up a crucial point there. And I guess
there's a lot of controversy, right? Because there was a foiler red card. Gasparini is really mad. He thinks that VAR was wrong. Although the photo that I saw of it, I didn't get to watch the game, but I saw the picture of the foul, and I'm like, VAR was very right. I'm like, that was a bad foul. I don't know what will come out of this. Gasparini will get another lecture like Montella did, because his comments were far more angry. I also have to say another ex-Milan player scored. It was Cristante scored for Atalanta in that game too. So every time we have these players that we didn't want to let go as fans, it kind of hurts a little.
I was going to say, the Ito kind of does, he's my paisan right here, so...
That's right?
Yeah. So it was good to see him score, but again, it was not good to see him score with Atalanta. I did enjoy him at Milan, but if you think about it, the money we used to sell him, we used to buy Ventura, so in a way it worked out. But let's see how well Atalanta can keep up. They're not used to two competitions right now, so we can start seeing them maybe slip up a little bit. But they're still doing well in Europa League. Let's hope they can go far, but we could see them struggle a little bit. They are a good side. We could see them struggle in Serie, so we'll see how well that lasts. So now we have the afternoon game, Sassuolo Milan. Big win for Montella. He gets to keep his job for a little bit longer.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Sassuolo is struggling right now. I guess they can feel the loss of De Frel, Pellegrini, and Di Francesco. Don't know how much longer Bucchi has, or how well Sassuolo can stay up, and how much longer they can keep some of their better players as well. Like Berardi, Fraccinelli came back.
He's been out injured for a while. Like, I know that those things hurt. Like, a team like Sassuolo, when you have an injury to somebody like Berardi, who scores like crazy against us, so it was great for us that he was out. But, you know, I mean, that could cost them their whole season when they have a player like that. Just like even Torino struggling since Belotti's been out for so long. Those are the kinds of teams that just, you know, when you only have a few really good players, when they're injured, it's really brutal. But they are in 17th place. They are really struggling, so it's definitely not Di Francesco's Sassuolo.
And I know this is only the second time Milan have won away in Reggio Emilia, because Sassuolo, man, they just... So guys, those were the results for this weekend. Again, we just had the one game not played. We will go into our player of the weekend. There are several performances out there. It's hard to really label a true player of the weekend. We had Budimir, we had Verdi, Gerson, you know, it's so hard to really say who there was. Do you have any...
I know, there wasn't really a clear one standout player. I mean, you could name almost any of the players that scored or did well, but it wasn't like a standout weekend. I agree with all of those choices. Budimir, obviously, that game was...
full of something.
Was good. Yeah. And Verdi, I mean, it's been, 12 years, 13 years since anyone's done what he did to be able to score a free kick with each foot. Like, that's really impressive.
You know you're ambidextrous when you're able to do that at the pro level,
exactly.
right?
That's really talented, and who doesn't want that player on their team? Because so much more versatile.
I just wish Milan would buy him back. We could use him as a backup winger, perhaps. You know,
back up to Barini, our right wing.
Maybe. So let us know who you guys think, because we're here honestly not sure who to choose out of those three. So let us know, or if you have someone else in mind, let us know. We have our goal of the weekend. Who would you say had the top goal?
That's even harder. I gotta go with Suso. Because I'm a Milan fan, sorry.
So Suso's goal was a nice trick, a nice his usual go onto his left foot and just put it in. No one's able to stop it. If Suso scores,
it's almost always nice. Come on. They're gorgeous.
For me, I'm going to go with Cicciaretti's free kick. Like, that was just an absolute great free kick, and it brought all our hopes up for about half hour or so, or maybe less.
Their hopes, too. That would have been like their first points
ever.
I talked to a UK fan, and he was like, the announcer was saying that would be their first points. And he's like, even I felt bad.
They're just, honestly, they either play abysmal, but they don't play at a great level. Then there's some days where they play great, and it just breaks everyone's heart to see them lose, and it's just unfortunate. So that's everything for round 12. Now it's an international break coming up. So we're just going to touch on the players called up for Ventura. Some surprises, some returns. So we'll start off with the goalies, the usual, Buffon, Donnarumma, and Pedin. So not much changes there. And then we have our defenders, Astori, Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini, D'Ambrosio, Darmian, Rugani, Spinazzola, and Zappacosta.
And I like how Romagnoli scored today after that announcement to remind him, hey, I'm still here.
You know, to put it in Ventura's face. It's time to bring up maybe some of these youngsters again, like Caldara and Romagnoli. Take out players like Astori and Barzagli, but maybe Ventura's just trying to use that for the experience going into these playoffs. Who really knows what goes on in his head and the way he actually implements his tactics, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it is always, you're walking a fine line, and I'm all about, especially on defense and keepers, I really prefer kind of my experience to lie there. You know, that's where you really need the experience the most. I never understood why a story got called up, but that's just me. So, you know, you're always gonna find fault with
like the selections and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we'll go into the midfielders and wingers. We have Bernardeschi, Candreva, De Rossi, El Shaarawy, Florenzi, Gagliardini, Insigne, Jorginho, Barolo,
Yeah.
Verratti. We finally have Jorginho. Like, just one thought about that, though, because I know there's rumors he was going to choose Brazil. Do you think Ventura is just doing that so he doesn't go to Brazil, like, choose Brazil?
Oh, yeah, totally. I think that's a total girl. But I love it. Hopefully now he'll have the chance to show why he belongs there. Because, I mean, how long have we been saying that he needed to be called up?
But the one thing I was about to say, though, if he probably did it so he doesn't go to Brazil. But the question is, will he keep choosing him going into World Cup, or he just did it to keep him away from Brazil? That's
who knows what's going on in his mind. If he'll make it to the World Cup, honestly, he's so abysmal.
He's been one of Napoli's best performers this year, really able to control the tempo, and that's what Italy need too, some creativity from the mid as well. So
I'm very much looking forward to watching him play, for sure. And if Ventura called him up and doesn't let him play, seriously.
We go on to our strikers. Belotti, Eder, Gabbiadini, Immobile, and Zaza. Zaza returns, I believe, after screwing up the penalty against Germany.
So I personally was never a fan of him. I never understood why he was in the team in the first place, and so glad that he was banished. Why he's called up again, there's just no words. Call up Borini before you call him, please. Please.
Like, and I know he didn't bring back Balotelli, but maybe there could be some disagreements with Ventura as well as some other older players in the squad who really knows what the true reason is. But Balo has been performing. He's been on track, so it's hard not to really see his performances as well, I guess.
I mean, you have a player like him. Why you don't call him up, I don't know. If you need to get a whole security detail for him and a media detail to like suppress whatever he does that's funny or whatever, take away his social media, whatever you need to do to make sure that he as a player is there and on the pitch, do that, because he would be good for the Italian national team. And if you're coaching the Italian national team, you don't look at color, you don't look at the drama, you don't look at all of the rumors and all the stuff. You don't read the papers to make your call-ups. You look at the performances on the field. Exactly. And I don't know how you can look at those performances and then call up Zaza over him. Like, that is ridiculous. It's beyond me.
I know Zaza's technically the second top scorer in La Liga, but he's nothing compared to Balotelli. Like, it's just
well, that's La Liga. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, you bring him to Serie A and let's see what he does. Thank you. No, thank you. I mean, he's not going to be the same player because there's no defense there. And if you can score in Italy, then, you know, you can score anywhere. But Balotelli's also playing in France, which I think, again, is even still tougher defensively than La Liga. I don't understand. I don't understand why he's not called up.
And I know another player that's not controversial, Jovinko. I know he plays here in Toronto. He is a great player, but in a way I agree with what Ventura is saying, because MLS isn't, like, it's not an amateur league, but it's not the most well-developed league where, you know, it's the best competition around. So Jovinko, when he first came in here, he got the best records and everything because he was like the best player at the time. I
know you're a TFC fan, and so sorry, I don't mean to insult you, but Jovinko made the choice to come to the MLS, and I feel like he made the choice to not be in the national team because he knew that was a huge risk by going to a league that's far inferior to Serie A. And, you know, great, he wins in the MLS. He's obviously the best player. Like, it's not even a question. Great for him. He's enjoying all the accolades. But I don't feel like he can then expect to enjoy also the Italian national team call-ups because he went for glory instead of saying where it was harder to play and where he would have to be tested and stuff. And so, you know, I know a lot of people that are MLS fans are like, oh, why aren't they calling him up and all that? But I just see it from a football point of view, like the level and the technical skills that he's playing up against, which is harder because, like, as a call-up, it should be just your performance, but it's also your performance against, like, who you're playing against, because Borini could score in the MLS, but he doesn't, he can't score in Serie A. So he made that choice. So to me, like, Ventura's not making that choice to not call him up. Jovinko made that choice by going to the MLS, but sorry if that offends you.
No, I totally agree with that. Like, for me, it was his choice, but I do see Ventura's side because of the MLS. But I guess Jovinko just wanted to play, and he wasn't getting a lot of playing time back at Juve. So at least at TFC he can show his skill, just be all flashy and whatnot.
It's a choice.
So
it's just a choice, and he made that choice, and then but he needs to also then not be whining and have his agent be whining about not getting a call up to the national team because he made that choice. To me, that it's great. He's getting playing time. He's a star. It's great for him. Good for him, and also good for the MLS. It needs to grow. I can't really fault him there. At the same time, you can't go there and then expect to be called up.
Again, Italy's games are Friday, November 10th. Sweden is the first game. Then they play on Monday, which is the 13th in Milan. So we're hoping Italy can do well into qualifying. We'll see how well we can do. And again, we'll see what Ventura pulls out of his ass. So that's it for the national team. We're going to just quickly touch on round 13, which will take place after the international break. Some key matchup on November 18th. We have 12 p.m. the Derby della Capitale, Roma-Lazio. Going to be a great game. Great game. It'll be interesting to see what Di Francesco brings to his first derby and how well Inzaghi will lead his troops, because Inzaghi has done an exceptional job with Lazio.
Yeah.
That same day we have 2:45 Napoli-Milan. Another big game.
Well, if you're a Napoli fan.
We'll see. Maybe Milan can pull a surprise. We will see,
Yeah, if Kiev can hold into a draw, then maybe we can too, right?
Who knows? Maybe we'll get a Borini hat-trick. Who knows?
Yes.
Gonna probably hope to have a couple of live reactions, because I know my brother is dying to have one against his rivals. And hopefully I can have a live reaction with a Napolitano. I am hoping. Stay tuned for that. So November 19th on the Sunday, 6:30 is Crotone-Genoa. Basically a battle of the lower end of the table. It'll be crucial for Crotone to keep up their winning form, as well as Genoa to try to regain their form after just firing their coach Juric. We'll see who will come out on top there. The 9 a.m. games, we have Benevento-Sassuolo, Sampdoria-Juventus, Spal-Fiorentina, Torino-Chievo, and Udinese-Cagliari. I guess the key matchup there is Sampdoria-Juventus. Sampdoria have been tough at the Marassi, so Juve really will have their work cut out for them. And we'll see how well Samp can really deal with a Juventus side that will know how to attack, but at the same time been struggling of late. 2:45 on that Sunday, we have Inter-Atalanta. That's going to be another good game as well. Atalanta struggling.
But I really want Atalanta to win that one for obvious reasons, but also just that would be magical. For Serie A, keep it really competitive,
Exactly. You don't want to keep having the better team, the more competitive teams constantly win games and, just win by a landslide. We just want to see a nice Serie A competitiveness, and I guess that's also the debate about the 18 teams, but that's for another video as it is.
Yeah.
And then we have a game on Monday night, because they want Monday night football, 2:45 Verona-Bologna. Wonder if Verona will get a victory out of this. Bologna really want to pick it up after that home defeat. I feel Bologna will probably take it, because they do have more experience and really work better as a team than Verona. But we'll see what brings us. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I know there's a lot to talk about today, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you, Elaine from Milan Obsession, for taking part in this video. You can listen to her podcast, All Milanisti, if you want to, so stay tuned for that as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Calcio_bros, and if you want to follow Elaine, it's at Milan Obsession, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, at Calcio_bros. Subscribe on YouTube for more Calcio content, and we'll hear from you guys soon. Ciao.
Ciao.